Let's see if this works. Hey everybody. So I'm just going to get this up and running for a second. So hang tight with me. We're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. There we go. Hey Philip, hey Lauren. Hello everybody. All right, so the setup I have here is quite interesting to make this work, but we're gonna do it and we're gonna make it work. I need something to almost tilt this though. Well, let me show you quick. So I wanted to show you like my favorite gifts so far, probably this year. I don't know. I love every gift I ever get, but for all my St. Louis people, are you ready? I was gonna wear it for the video, but it's kind of warm next to my fire. I love this velour to support my St. Louis fans and everything. My buddy JW sent that to me from St. Louis, and it's funny because I opened it when my mom was here, and my mom's name is Winnie Lou, and so it was quite appropriate for all of it. So super happy with it. But thank you guys for joining me on Christmas Eve. I didn't know if people would jump on, if they wouldn't jump on. I was saying earlier when you couldn't hear me, I got my whiskey. It's a salted caramel whiskey. Somebody just told me about it, a lady I work with this week. And so we're having a little whiskey by the fire. Not the best lighting, probably a little echoey, but you know what? We're here. So thank you guys. If you're not subscribed, click subscribe. So that main question that I have on the intro there, someone wanted to know about conjoined twins. And how do you embalm a conjoined twins? I guess not but conjoined twins. This is such a rarity when it comes to embalmers who have probably done this even, because conjoined twins are very unique and a rarity. I don't even know what the statistic as to how many conjoined twins there are in the world. However, all I can do is my best guess here. One thing that James had asked me about this was, would they separate the twins? You know, why would you cut somebody apart when it came to that? My only thought would be if they went for an autopsy and during the autopsy they separated them, but I can't imagine them doing that. So I would think that no, they wouldn't separate them. And so when they came into our care of the embalmer, we would try to inject as we usually would. If there was 2 torsos, we would inject each torso the same way. Because all you can do, just like every deceased, is inject and see how the body responds. We don't know inside those conjoined twins what things they share and what they don't, unless we're given a little bit of information. But some arteries might be shared, some they may have 2 of. It's a big mystery going on inside of a body, regardless if they're conjoined or not. So we would just inject the best ways we could. We're gonna have to get a casket that's a little wider probably. So some of those things will come into play just like it would with an individual that's not conjoined. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy birthday to Tiffany's son. Tiffany, was he at our meet and greet down in St. Louis? I don't know, some of your kids were there. It's like dessert in a cup, you guys. It's terribly dangerous. So I know a lot of individuals who transition from one career into another. Is there any way you could possibly touch upon this? Something regarding making such a huge change in life, going from another career into the mortuary field. I get a lot of cosmetology people and nursing. Those are very natural transitions over into this world because you are working on the person's appearance. You are working on the body, working with people in very sensitive situations. So a lot of different career paths seem to cross over into what we need to do with the deceased and with the families. Lisa, no, I don't have the girls tonight. So they're going to be with their dad for Christmas morning, and we're going to celebrate the next day. So thank you. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you guys and your support. So because this is such a natural transition, people change careers all the time, not just to go into the mortuary science field, but just in general. So it is a big jump to change your whole life, to change your path. But sometimes when you're in a rut, you will be so much more excited about going to work and so much more excited about what you're doing, whether you're taking in less money, whether you're scared poopless about this new endeavor. Sometimes just the excitement of something new and finally trying what you want to do is worth all of it. And you're never going to know. You don't want to get down the road and regret maybe never taking a chance. So do it. Pause for the cause. Don't ever work for free. So an apprenticeship is a paid position. It is a job. You should be paid well. You should get good income for that job. Do not ever do that for free. Ever. I'm an avid rock collector, tumbler, and polisher. I asked the funeral director to put a rock they had polished into my nephew's cremation. I wonder if it made it to the other side. I honestly don't know the answer to this question, and I'm really intrigued by it. So I'm going to be asking some crematory operators. We all know Steve now from my video earlier this week. Some other people. What will happen with a rock? I mean, I should probably know some logical answer to this, but I honest to goodness, no idea. So I need to look into this whole rock thing. How does a funeral director decide what color to polish the deceased's nails? This probably varies from person to person, but do you base that off of what you think will look nice with the outfit? I ask because I remember that my family was surprised to see my great-grandmother's nails polished silver at her viewing. So this is a big one for me. So I think not too often, but too many people take liberties with what they choose to put on a deceased, that they polish nails without really knowing if the person polished their nails, or they put lipstick on without knowing if the person really wore lipstick. So without asking maybe a little further with a family, they kind of take liberties in those situations. Sometimes nail beds are dark purple, and we may need to put some nail polish on to cover that because it doesn't clear during embalming. But asking gives us a lot of feedback from families. If they say yes, polish their nail, you do something that maybe matches with what the outfit looks like, something that's not too radical. Like the mauve colors is big with older ladies and such. So, and some men, you just put a clear coat on to give a little luster to their hands that might need it. Yay, Lisa. Lisa, I just love you. You're so awesome. What kind of whiskey are you drinking? I know a guy who went from machine tool sharpening to mortuary. There's a place for everybody when it comes to, work and all this stuff. It's crazy. I'm in school to become an ME next March. Awesome. I'm currently going on 20 years as a vet tech. I'm looking into a career change. I don't think that there's any one job that can transition over to this perfectly. I think that we have, because this role as the funeral director or mortician has so many facets to it, that there's so many different things that you can bring into that position, whether it's working with, clients, whether it's handling the deceased, whether it's the accounting, the paperwork, all of it. You may have skills built in from what you've done before that, go well with this position. Tennessee Fire. Ooh, is it like cinnamony? Yeah, this is the old something Tennessee salted caramel. I also have the peach, and I also bought a peanut butter. I can't think of the brand of the peanut butter one right now. I'm kind of into whiskey right now, and I don't know why. I tried Apple Crown. It's not like I drink it a ton, but it's a nice, just sippy, cold night. Yeah. I hope that you and your family are enjoying the holidays. I've gotten more well-wishing for me and the girls. I'm so appreciative. Thank you, everyone. It's so kind of you to reach out, take time out of your day to wish me and the girls well. And we're doing so good, and we're so excited about Christmas this year. It's so amazing. Does someone have to be blessed with artistic talent in order to be a successful embalmer? Maybe not for the embalming portion, but the restoration, makeup, and the job of making someone look as natural as possible. Okay, I am the worst artist. I couldn't draw you crap for you to identify if you wanted to. It's not so much artistic, it's being able to see the end result. Because a lot of the restorative is not just one application, it's this building of an application where you have to start here, do this, do this, do this, do this, and get to this end result. So it's maybe having that foresight to see and to know. I think it's really cool to be able to do that. I don't know that it's fully artistic, but it's one, being able to be trained and learn over time, and knowing colors, things like that. So I don't know if it's so much artistic. Grand Marnier. I don't even know what Grand Marnier actually is. I know exactly what the bottle looks like, but I don't know what it tastes like. Or is it's not Old Smoky peanut butter. It's Screwball peanut butter. Yeah, I don't know what Grand Marnier is. Yes, we have Michigan. We have a lot of casinos, which means a lot of Native American communities. Why here, I'm not quite sure, but so we have these large pockets of tribal communities, and so I've worked with them numerous times, and I've always enjoyed my encounters and enjoyed doing those funerals. I love drumming, absolutely love it. Sage rituals, they smell up the building, but they're so cool. I just love a lot of what they do. I love the ritual of what they do. How long can live on a vet? Donovan, I'm not sure what on a vent. I don't know. I don't know. That's medical, and I don't know about that part. Orange flavored brandy. I don't know if I've ever had brandy. Not sure about brandy. As a CPA and financial planner, I find the business side of funeral homes very interesting. Do larger volume funeral homes, 500 cases or more, typically order popular casket models in bulk to get lower pricing from suppliers? If there are 2 or more models that are consistent sellers, will a funeral home order 10 or 12 at a time? This is a great question. I mean, it's not as exciting as embalming, but inventory and supply demand, things like that. So you can purchase, I know for a while, there was one company, it was a Chinese company, you could purchase bulk orders of these caskets, and they would come partially assembled. You would complete the rest of the assembly, but for shipping, it was lower cost because they were coming partially assembled. And so funeral homes would go in together, purchase these all, bring them in, and then store them. So you can do that with estate side companies as well, where if you buy however many, you get so much of a discount. Sometimes they go on sale, sometimes this. It's the storage space, and do you really use those caskets often? So I know of some smaller funeral homes who have ordered like that because they sometimes not push, but they do have specialty caskets that they use more frequently. They're nice, lower priced, mid-range items that are often selected. And so if they can get a discount, they are still making more money, even though it's a lower priced item. So I do know companies that do that. Yes, it's a thing. My aunt died on Monday, 2 days after entering hospice. She wanted cremation and no service, and that's what they did. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sarah. Why do some funeral directors partially embalm? What do you mean by partially embalm? Like, what does that mean to you? Do you take calls from out of state to the one to prepare the body of a family or friend? So like me go to other states. So I'm not licensed in any state but Michigan. So if I went to another state to embalm or do something, I would need a licensed director from that state to kind of oversee me and to allow me to come in to do anything, because I'm now legal there. So I could embalm as long as somebody else was with me. I could run the funeral as long as they had a licensed person there too. So we'd kind of have to double up. Orange liquor, not a brandy. My husband passed away 11/14 and had direct cremation. I wanted to see him one last time, and the funeral charged $150 for 15 minutes. Is this common? So Cliff, it may not be as simple as they're charging $150 for 15 minutes. They may be charging $150 to get him ready for the viewing, to set his features, clean him up, put him in a hospital gown if he wasn't, or dress him if he wasn't. That may be what the charge is for. So sometimes it's not as simple as saying they're charging $150 for 15 minutes. So there may be more to that. But yeah, it's common to charge for those things, especially if someone wants to do an identification view and the person's autopsied or a tissue donor, and it's going to take time to clean them up, suture them up, get them ready. There's going to be a charge. When you go to the cemetery for the interment, do they bury your body the same day or the next day? Nope, right then. Right then. When a family requests a thumb or fingerprint of their loved one, at what time is that done? It depends. So like some funeral homes will do it as the part of the intake. Sorry guys, my whole one leg is asleep and I have to shift. So it might be part of like the intake where when they come into the funeral home, they fingerprint them, they put a tag on them, something like that. That might be when they are fingerprinted for the database, essentially. It just depends. Hey, JW, I showed your sweatshirt at the beginning of the video. You missed it. It's too hot by this fire right now. Okay, guys, so just to show you. So I'm by the fire and the tree, our stockings. Whoop, whoop. So it's too hot to wear the, it's too hot to wear the sweatshirt, but I love it, love it, love it. If you could give your past self any advice about the funeral industry, what would it be? Do not have any preconceived notions about meeting families. Don't judge a family. Don't anticipate thinking you know what somebody wants if they haven't clearly explained it after you've given them all the options. Don't assume a family doesn't have money going into an arrangement. A lot of different when it comes to that part of it, because you're always going to be surprised. Merry Christmas to everyone. Yes, it's kind of warm in today. It was like 50 some today. It feels like spring, and I want snow for Christmas, but I'll take what I can get. Questions. I have so many. It's Amber again. Hello, Amber. Amber sends me questions. I love it. What is the criteria that you follow when deciding that a decedent is just not going to be viewable? And have there been times when a family really opposes your decision? Who would have the final say? Well, the funeral home has the final say because the viewing represents the funeral home. So if the product, and I hate to say it that way, but if the presentation of the individual, the end result, the end product of all of our work, the deceased in the casket sitting there, does not represent what we feel is how we would want our work to be presented, then we can say we're not comfortable with an open casket. You can have a private family time, and then we need to close it. So we can say that. The family, though, can also say, well, we're calling someone else. That's fine. They pay for everything up to that point, and they can go to a different funeral home. So there is those options. I am a big person when it comes to, or I'm a big believer in the family seeing the person, seeing part of the person, seeing the hand, seeing a foot, seeing an ear, I don't care what it is, seeing something, just to connect to the death. However, I think when it comes to restoration and things, I heard this at a presentation once, and I can't remember exactly who it was right now, and I love this. You don't need to be like perfect in your restoration. They don't need to look like themselves perfectly, but they need to be perfectly recognizable. So if the family can recognize them as their loved one in some capacity, that's the end goal, but it doesn't mean that's what needs to be presented for the whole public world. So that's where you kind of gauge, what are we showing? What are we doing? Yeah. If you're married and not divorced, is your husband or wife still the next of kin, or is there? So it goes legal spouse, and we can only, so this became a huge thing with same gender couples, that this became a big thing that you can't question. You can't say, oh, are you legally married? Unless you ask everybody if they're legally married. I ask everybody if they're legally married, if they're giving authorization for cremation. I say, you are attesting to the fact you are legally married to this person. You are their legal spouse. So a legal spouse, adult surviving children, then it goes to grandchildren, parents, siblings, nieces, nephews, on down the line. And so that's kind of how it goes. If you were divorced, you have no rights. You're not legally anything to that person anymore. Have I ever done a public viewing on a non-complete body? No major parts gone. Everything was kind of there. I did a tip of an ear once, was not included with the deceased when we received them. Otherwise, everything else has been there, just maybe not attached anymore. Fred, have you had a medical examiner hold in any point in the process? Oh, a medical examiner hold where they stop us from, yeah, but not for a long period of time. I've never had anything that's like a major weeks long hold at all. So like a couple days, like 2-3 days or whatever. When the family is not at the funeral home, do they treat the deceased with care and not be rough with the deceased? Well, that's our hope, that's my hope, is that every funeral director is being nice and, treating deceased with respect. I don't know. Tammy, I guess here's my question. What do you think might be happening with the deceased behind the scenes? Kari, my cousin was killed in a fiery crash in 2017. The funeral home said they had to put him in a plastic bag and his army uniform on top of him, and the casket wouldn't be opened. Yes, if there was nothing left of him really except for some charred remains, that's what would happen. They wouldn't be able to dress him. They wouldn't be able to do any preparation. He could have just been crisped bones. I hate to say it that way, but burning in a car is an intense burn, and there's not a lot left sometimes. Yeah, sorry, Janae. I've heard of cases where funeral homes have held bodies of military members waiting for interment at military cemeteries for up to months at a time. What measures do funeral directors have to take to maintain the body during that long of a period? Is it possible to freshen up an embalming? Is it just a matter of refrigeration? So if we know we have a long delay, which can happen if we are going to Lake Arlington, we are going to embalm aggressively and use pretty strong fluids. But once you have the funeral and the caskets closed, typically we're not reopening later. We might be able to, it depends what the person looks like, but typically you're just holding the person until they go and are buried. And when they go and are buried, there's not a viewing at the cemetery. It's just the burial. So I have held people for the winter months, for a few months over winter, and then we had a viewing before the person went for burial at that point, because they were supposed to be buried way up in the UP in Michigan. If you don't know about the UP, or which way? Are we this way for Michigan? Which, I don't even know. But we use our hands in Michigan. I guess I don't do the UP very much. I always do the lower. I need to look it up. But it gets cold and rock hard ground up there. So we held the deceased, had a little bit of mold on them, wiped it off, recosmetized, and the family saw him before we buried him. When it comes to the military thing, for these cemeteries, it's not often, it's usually Arlington is the long hold. And you just embalm, put them in the casket, and put them in storage. Typically not cold storage unless you have space, but you don't usually have space for storing a full casket for that long. Jackson J. Jack, thank you. Can you have a casket open at a cemetery? It depends on the cemetery rules. Many cemeteries have rules against it. Some don't. It just really depends. Is it possible to have a body in a funeral home for over a year? It is possible if there's cold storage, but by golly, we do not want that because they're still decomposing. Cold storage does not mean they're not going to. In a funeral home, we have laws that keep us from freezing a body. So if they're going to be stored that long, they need to go to the medical examiner's office where they can freeze them. Oh, bodies are, after years, be in great conditions and others not that good. Yeah, Fred, you're going to encounter all sorts of variables with how people are going to look. Oh, Meredith, I'm sorry. Laura, yes, wear pants. I swear, it's so crazy because it's almost laughable. And some of you said, I thought I could see that you wanted to, I wanted to laugh because people often ask if they need to bring pants. And so I'm like, yeah, we need pants. So Jackson J. Jack, yeah, I hate my hair right now. I know you're always more critical of yourself. So I'm getting it a little choppy chop and this week, and I'm so excited. So excited because there's some weird stuff going on back here you can't even see. I wish you were here. You could help me out with it. It's bad. Hard eggnog coffee, Trevor. So I don't know that I've ever had eggnog. Anybody else? I don't know that I've ever had eggnog, honest to goodness. Creamy with liquor in it. And I know that kind of like, what's the one with Kahlua? White Russians. It just sounds not great to me, but people love them. I don't know. An army of corpses in their boxers. Yuck to eggnog. Oh my gosh, you are so funny. How long have I been? Oh, we're about 30 minutes. I didn't want to do too long today. And I actually got through all my questions you guys sent me. I thought I was never going to make it through these, but I guess I am. Can a person be stored in funeral home to await cremation and or burial? Yeah, so especially during the holidays, we're doing a lot of, hey, can you hold on to them until after the holidays? Right now, with the death spike we're having, holding people, all these people for 2-3 weeks until it's convenient for somebody, death is not convenient, ever. Death is not a convenient thing. So life should stop and you should take care of the deceased when it happens. That's my feeling. That's my total personal feeling on it. Yeah. What's the funniest or cattiest thing you've seen in an obituary for a funeral you've personally ever seen? There are some amazing obituaries. I was just having this conversation with someone this week because there's some great obituaries and they were like, hey, can you take like the 5 funniest obituaries and do some dramatic readings of them while you're drinking wine or something? And I thought that would be so fun to do, and I may still do it. My only thing is the backlash of people telling me I'm making fun of people dying. So what do you guys think? Dramatic reading, maybe with Brandy. I don't know. Does Brandy make it classier? Of some hilarious obituaries, or is that bad? How do you guys feel about that? Which way? Which way do you feel? Paula, email it to me if you got a question then, and I will answer it next time. Why do bodies get mold on them? Because we have moisture. Moisture makes mold. Yeah, Anna Kate. I just think it would be fun. Woohoo, Mount Pleasant. Yeah, Steve was great at Mount Pleasant. I'd gone there twice because the first time we recorded, it just wasn't what we wanted. So I went back and we just did a quick, it was too not contrived, but we tried to do things a little more structured, and I am a fly by the seat of my pants sort of person. Yeah. Oh, a good cigar. You know, I used to smoke cigars back in the day. Perhaps with a joint instead of brandy. Now we're going to a whole new path. I ever buried an amputee where their previously buried amputated body part? Tiffany, I have not. No, I have not actually. Sarah, really? I don't know what you're reallying on. Which part do you mean really on? I'm going to send you my recipe for Mexican hot chocolate. That sounds good. Oh, Little Miss Funeral. I know she's kind of taking a break. She's just been dove into working and being a mom and stuff. And her and I need to get back on. Me, her, and Joelle, the grave woman, need to dive in and do one of our wine videos again. Yes, caskets are left open at night. We don't close them at night when we go home. There's no reason to. Oh, smoked cigars. I did back in the day. Not a lot. It was more maybe when I was drinking, when I was younger. But I did smoke some cigars. Did some Swisher Sweets and then just some regular cigars. Always made my mouth gross for them, next morning, but why are we? This is such a random side avenue of conversation about cigars. Oh, I live in Jackson, across the street from cemetery where Ronnie Van Zant from Skinnerd is buried. That's pretty fun. I would like to go do some more cemetery where like famous people are buried. Yeah, so Caitlin had told me about that video when we had met and stuff and had talked. So I've been waiting for that video to come. So it's super exciting. There is no light in the casket on the top of the lid. Do you get Christmas and Easter and other holidays? No, people still die. Typically a funeral home will have a rotation for holidays where the funeral directors that are there, they will rotate the different holidays that they're off. So if you're looking old, come to the UK. How so? Am I only 25? I feel like I'm not do the obits. Happy holidays. Yes, Lamont at Large has some good, so does Faces of the Forgotten. There's some great cemetery channels on here that you guys should check out. So I will probably dial this down. Merry Christmas to everyone. Next week, I will post a challenge. I haven't figured out what it's going to be for someone to get to win to pick the new song for the 2-minute videos next year. That's, 50 sometimes. Because I always miss a few at the beginning of the year, like usually 48, 49 times that you are picking the song for the video for next year. Desiree won last year. So I've got to come up with a challenge. And the girls usually either introduce it or they draw the name for it to win. And so that'll be coming next week. Thank you, everyone. I'm very thankful this year. The last year has been a bit of mountain climbing and valley trudging, and has been a lot of great moments. You guys have been so supportive. It's been crazy busy at work, so I haven't given as much to this side of what I do, but I'm hoping January will bring maybe a little bit of reprieve and I can dive in. I've got a little traveling I want to do to get videos out for this. So I'm very thankful for great family, great friends, great co-parenting, the best little girls. So in next year, I do have a new man in my life, guys. I know, mic drop there. And so next year I will be introducing you guys to him. So he's brought a lot of happiness to the space. So thank you all. Pour yourself one and cheers. Merry Christmas. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.